Hey guys, what's up? So this video is going to be kind of starting off a little weird. I just have to tell a story real quick. I was sitting at my desk at work doing payroll, hating life, and I hear a car pull up, like just whipping like they own the place, right up to my door. And I'm like, who is this? Like, what are you doing, dude? So I'm sitting there, I'm like looking out the door into this car that has tinted windows, and I see a fuzzy mic come up, and I'm like, what are you doing here, bro? So Chris Rudnick, he shows up. So I'm like, at the drift event, a guy came up and he was like, hey, he was talking to Chris. He's like, hey, I'm a huge fan. I've been watching you since the beginning. A couple minutes, or I don't know, probably an hour later, I walk down to the pits and I see this guy walking up, the same guy that just asked me where Chris was. So he comes up to me and Chris, and he tells Chris, like, hey, I'm a big fan, been watching you for a long time. I have these project cars that I need to get rid of, and I would like you to take one with you while you're here. And he was going on about what he had, and Chris was like, okay, yeah, I'll come look at them. We can make that happen. Sure, absolutely. I see the Z, and the kid had spoken about a Z, so I'm like, okay, Chris got the Z, and he brought it. And I'm like, he was just in Atlanta, so why did he drive this here, and I didn't know about it? So I go outside talking. He's like, oh, here's a car, blah, blah, blah. I'm like, man, like, good to see you, bud, but I wasn't expecting you. And so I look at the car, I'm like, oh, it's not bad, blah, blah, blah. This is the one he gave you. He's like, yeah, cool. And so then he's like, but I got some bad news. I'm like, what's that? He's like, they're pulling up with the trailer, man. He's like, I wrecked the E36, and my heart fell to my toes. And I'm like, the E36? He's like, yeah, man. These people came up to me, so they had this cool street spot. And, so after the comp, like, we went there. They said it was legit, like it was legal, whatever. So I went, and I was driving, and I came out a little hot, and like wall tapped the guardrail, and it sucked the front of the car in. I think it's totaled. I don't think it's fixable this time. And I'm just, in my head, I'm like, oh, you're a fucking idiot. Like, why would you take your comp car that we're trying to get set up for comps, street drifting with a bunch of kids? You're an idiot. So, but I didn't say that. I kept it professional, and I'm like, oh man, yeah, that's unfortunate, blah, blah, blah. Inside, I'm boiling, pissed off, because all the time and effort I put into that car to get it where it was, and he had just, like, telling me he totaled this thing. So I called my body guy over that, like, helped me work on it. I'm like, this fucking guy, he wrecked the BMW. Let's go look at it. It's on its way, blah, blah, blah. So it's pouring down rain, by the way. So not only am I pissed that he wrecked the car, but I'm soaking wet. So I'm like, all right, so we walk to the trailer. We were walking out to the trailer. Our buddy Chris was there, and I'm like, how bad is it? He's like, oh, yeah, dude, it's pretty bad. So I'm like, fuck, all right, well, let me see. And so they dropped the door on the trailer, and my brain just shuts off, because it's not a yellow E36. It's a black E36. And I'm like, it's not the right car. And Chris is like, it is. It's your car, man. And he gave me an E36. It may not be a show car, a drift car, or anything like that, but the dude bought me a E36. It runs and drives, so it's not a shell, but he bought me a 328i. I believe it's like a 97 or something, and drove from Atlanta here and surprised me with a car. I almost cried. I'm not gonna lie. Like, I got goosebumps and everything talking about it. I have never in my entire life had handouts, and no one has ever done anything like this for me. So for Chris to not only give me I'm surprised that he drove 8 hours and surprised me alone outside of giving me a car. So absolutely, wow, amazing, man. I really, really appreciate it. I was not expecting that. That was probably the furthest thing from my mind, that Chris was gonna buy me a car and kind of like start pushing me into doing what I'm doing. So huge shout out to you, man. I appreciate it, bro. I really do. Like I told you and expressed it to you, man, you're a real one. I appreciate you, bro. He actually like left because I was still at work. He left my shop, delivered it to my house, and hauled ass back to Georgia. Like, literally, he drove 8 hours for a 30-minute conversation and to drop his car off, and then back to Atlanta to pick up his E36. So, bro, you ever need anything, I got you, dude. This is crazy. So, haven't seen it yet. I'm about to go in here and kind of look it over. Well, I seen it in the trailer for 5 minutes. I didn't look it over. I seen it had coilovers on it and some cool wheels, but I think I have to get the wheels back or to the guy he bought it from. So I don't know yet, but we're gonna go in here and kind of get my first like genuine reaction and look over this. Sheesh. This thing's a little rough. Can't complain though. This is exactly what I wanted. So it's back in the barn again. I think first things first, before I do anything with this car, this shithole is getting cleaned up. I am so sick of seeing it like this. I don't ever use it. This was just for storage, and now I use it more often than I use the shop. So that's what I'm doing first. Before I even touch a nut or a bolt on this car, this shop is getting cleaned up ASAP. So here it is. Nowhere near perfect, but that's a lot better. I got a majority of the loose pine needles and leaves and all that stuff out. Giant ass spider, so I need to get 18 cans of brake clean to address that situation, because I ain't doing that again. And then, yeah, I mean, this thing's a mess. I'm super excited to see what it's going to be, though. I called Chris because I couldn't figure out how to get it started, and I couldn't get power to anything. So he's like, oh, yeah, I left the key in it. Just put the key in the ignition and then use a screwdriver on the other side, and it fires right up. So let's see if this thing will start. Okay, we have power. We have power. Let's see. Oh, here, fuel pump. Oh, give me a second. Let's, there it is. Oh my God. It's a little loud. I think someone stole the pad off of there. Okay, so I got this thing jacked up and was looking under it. It's missing the ball joint completely. So I'm not sure if the previous owner was replacing it or not, but also there is no control arm bushing on the back over here. So, and also it looks like that nut's loose. So I'm not sure if someone was just working on it or what. Also, saying, let me get under here real quick. Looks pretty good. Like the common spots on the E36s that are normally completely rotted out are good. Someone did steal a cat, so I believe, or attempted to, or something, but that's not that big of a deal. Overall, underneath there's some oil leaks and stuff, but it's not horrible. This looks like Bondo, so that's kind of concerning. Sounds solid, so we'll just leave it at that. I have a control arm coming fully loaded, so I'm gonna slap that in as soon as I get it. That way the car can at least roll in and out of the shop under its own power, and I don't have to mess with like kicking the wheel or damaging it. Whew. All right, guys, so I can't really get into this thing as much as I would like to right now. I got a lot of stuff going on that I have to address currently, but I just wanted to once again thank Chris. Like, it's really cool, man. I appreciate it once again. I know I've said it 50,000 times. Very appreciative of I appreciate you, man, giving me this, like, for real. So my plans with the car. Quick update. I'm not going to try to ramble on much because I know I get a tendency to just talk and talk and talk. But here are the plans. Hear me out. The 6.2 that I'm currently getting built for the Colorado, fully built engine, ready to rock, should make 600 in a practically ideal drift car engine, cam, everything is pretty much what you would want in a 6.2. So I think I'm pretty confident at this point the Colorado build not necessarily going on hold. I'm still going to lower it, put some suspension on it, wheels. It still runs and drives, has AC, everything. Use the truck, drive it, put it on the back burner until I can find, I have another 5.3 swap. Maybe throw a valve train in the 5.3 and a cam, put it in the Colorado, be done with it. So yeah, Chris probably won the Colorado build off. But with that being said, I feel like that would be the perfect engine for getting me back into a competitive car. So the engine for the Colorado will be finished next week. I just talked to the engine builder. Heads are almost done. Going to go pick it up, put it in the corner, put a bag on it. As far as this goes, what I'm going to do, it already has some Max Peeding coilovers. They're not great by any means, but it's coilovers. I believe what I'm going to do. So I want to do M3, factory M3, everything, over fenders in the rear, obviously paint, body, the LS swap, find a trans, like acquire all those parts, put everything in the garage, get it ready to go until I'm ready to take the car down. In the meantime, I have been itching to get back on track, get some seat time. This is a 320 IS, so it has the better engine in it, I believe. Correct me if I'm wrong. I don't know anything about BMWs. All I know is that it's like 190 horsepower, 2.8 liter inline six, automatic currently. So cheap 5-speed swap, good clutch, find a diff, weld it, gut it, completely race car, fix the exhaust or put a exhaust on it, colder intake, fluids, seat time. Like get back on the track, get some seat time. Oh, angle kit. It will definitely get an angle kit before I take it on track. Not only because it's messed up, but why not? Like just put a kit on it, get acclimated to the chassis, get acclimated to the car, and have a cheap seat time car, wheel, a good seat, a harness, like the necessities. I've been saying it for years that I want to get back on the track and start driving again, just never really like committed, just a busy guy, have other responsibilities. But this is kind of pushing me in that direction to get back on track. And I am so grateful for Chris for this because it's my passion. I love it. I did it for years and I can't wait to get back on. Hopefully I don't suck horribly. So if any of you guys are like OG, like friends of mine and all that stuff, like go in the comments below and comment like what was your, because I have a lot of like epic like street drifting nights. We used to have a crew called the Bougie Crew. It was actually like Taylor Ray way back in the day. I don't even know if he remembers that, but it was like Taylor Ray, Ethan Nolan, Matt Cloutier, Justin Caseo, I believe is his last name, Justin C. Who else was in there? There was a couple of us, but we all rocked like a Bougie Crew banner, and we used to go out like every single week or multiple times a week, get caught by the cops, tickets, reckless driving. Good times. It's really cool to maybe get that crew. Oh, Crosby, can't forget him. What do you remember from like the street drifting days that sticks out in your head? Like, should we get the Bougie Crew back together? It would be sick. I think all of us, like that whole group of friends of mine, like have baller ass cars now, and have like excelled so much in life. I think it would be really cool to get like that group of friends back together and on the track, or just together in general. Like, I'm going to reach out to every single one of them, see if that's something we can do. Once again, I've said it a million times, I'll say it again. Huge shout out to Chris, Ricer Miata, for getting me this freaking thing. Super excited. I've already started ordering parts for it. I cannot wait to start driving again. So stay tuned. Make sure you like, comment, subscribe. Thank every single one of you for being here and supporting me. And let me know what you guys think. I'll catch you on the next one. Peace.